Because we are Americans and the future belongs totally to us. Once more, we will launch intrepid souls blazing through the sky and soaring into the heavens. Once more, we will summon the American spirit to tame the next great American frontier. And once more, we will proudly lead humanity. And that's what it is. It's humanity. Beyond the earth and into those forbidden skies, but they will not be forbidden for long.
In space, in zero G, the hair does not know which way down is. There you go. There you go.
Yep. Yep, that's absolutely true. I think our special effects are a little bit better up here, maybe, than in the movie Gravity.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly
black, so incredibly dark.
It's a bottomless pit.
Bottomless pit.
Bottomless pit.
So I'm going to tell you about how we measure dark matter, since it's invisible. What I have here is a cartoon of how we measure dark matter. In cosmology, we measure distances with a unit called Z. So we're here at Z of 0. We're the observer. We're 0 distance from ourselves. And here's our telescope. And we look at distant galaxies out in the universe. These distant galaxies that are of Z about 1. And that might sound like a small distance, but how we do it in cosmology is a distance of 1 is actually about halfway to the edge of the visible universe. So this is a very distant galaxy. In the absence of anything between us and that galaxy,
and God said,
"Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters."
And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day.
the light from this galaxy would take a straight path to us. But we know from the work that Vera Rubin and others did that there's all this dark matter out there in the universe. And we're particularly sensitive with this technique to dark matter that's about halfway between us and the distant galaxy. Excuse me. One of the consequences of Einstein's theory of relativity, our theory of gravity, is that mass bends space. So what this means is the light, when it gets near this dark matter, won't take a straight path to us. That light is going to take a distorted and curved path. And I'm showing a very, very exaggerated version of that here, so it's easier to see. The consequence of this is that we will not see the galaxy as it actually is, we'll see a distorted version of the galaxy. So the dark matter between us, which we can't see, has distorted our image of this distant galaxy. And in doing so, it's telling us something about the dark matter. So I'm going to tell you with one more analogy. I'm going to use another analogy for how we measure dark matter. This is a penny in a pool. That's the analogy here. And full disclosure, Alina and I don't actually have a pool. So you're looking at a penny in our bathtub, but penny in the pool sounds better. So in this analogy, the penny is like the distant galaxy. And the water in our bathtub, or the water in a pool, is like the dark matter. You don't see the water here, but you know it's there because you see the effect on the image of the penny. So what's happening is the light is coming to us from the penny, and it's taking some distorted path that changes our perceived shape of the penny so that we know the water is there. So that we know the water is there. In much the same way as the light from a distant galaxy comes to us, takes a distorted path through the dark matter, and we see a distorted image of that galaxy. But we don't see the dark matter. We don't see the water. So that we know the water is there. I could tell the density of the water and how much water there was, and that's going to tell us a lot about the properties of dark matter. That's how we're learning about dark matter now, and that's how we're going to learn about dark matter in the future.
He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies.
Taking a pee on the space shuttle was pretty quick and easy. The hose came with an attachment that you would put on, which was a funnel. So everyone had their own. We didn't share funnels, and it was in a little compartment, and you'd open up the compartment, and there would be the 7 funnels, and you would take the appropriate one and attach it to the urine collection hose, and then you would turn the system on. What it does is it creates a little airflow so that it'll take the liquid down the hose and into the tank. And when that tank reached a level that it was full, we would do a urine dump out into space. It would do a urine dump out into space. It would kind of crystallize and disappear more or less in the vacuum of space. So it was okay to dump urine out there. If the sun was shining, it would shine through the dumped urine, and you'd see kind of like a rainbow effect, and that was kind of cool.
And they shall pollute it.
We would do a urine dump out into space.
And they shall pollute it. My face will I turn also from them.
So it was okay to dump urine out there.
And they shall pollute my secret place, for the robbers shall enter into it and defile it.
Taking a pee on the space shuttle.
Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none.
He made darkness his secret place.
And they shall pollute it.
We would do a urine dump out into space.
He made darkness his secret place.
It would kind of crystallize and disappear more or less in the vacuum of space. So it was okay to dump urine out there.
His pavilion, round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies.
Here are some other equipment we have. This is a water analyzer. We use this, we put water samples in here from all over and test out the water to make sure we have bacteria growing, other stuff growing in the water that would be harmful to us. That's how we test it out. This is actually a container that has urine in it, and we get that from the Russians, and we put that then into our recycling system, our water recycling system. So first it goes into the urine processor, and then from there it goes into the water processor to make us drinking water. We're drinking the urine coming from these ones. This is actually a container that has urine in it, and we get that from the Russians, and we put that then into our recycling system, our water recycling system. So first it goes into the urine processor, and then from there it goes into the water processor to make us drinking water. We're drinking the urine coming from these ones.
Recycling system, or water recycling system. So first it goes into the urine processor, and then from there it goes into the water processor to make us drinking water. We're drinking the urine coming from these ones.
What does the ISS smell like?
Oh, you can smell a little roast beef.
When we first docked with the shuttle, there was a noticeable smell, but you get accustomed to it very quickly. So I can't tell anything anymore.
There was some I don't know how to describe it, but some feeling that it was real air that was coming in. And on the hatch, I think we told to each other, hey, can you smell the
You can smell a little roast beef.
special, and we could really smell.
The poop remained in the toilet. We landed with all of our poop, and then the toilet was serviced once we got on the ground. It does, however, on occasion get stinky in space. What you smell in space in the cabin is generally each other. When we landed on the shuttle, after this situation for a few weeks, the people that would open up the hatch would get a whiff of this and be like,
I smell a little roast beef.
Was usually the reaction.
Let's say you're up here on ISS and you need to go to the restroom. You want to come to this cabin, and the first thing you want to do is grab this piece of equipment and turn this rotary switch 90 degrees to the open position. What that does is it turns on a fan, which creates a suction effect in this hose so that you can use this yellow element for your number 1. For number 2, the principle is actually exactly the same, suction. We have a solid waste container here, and on top of it...
After you get a little experience, you could do other things like peeing upside down. This was a challenge given to me by a more experienced astronaut who said it is possible to pee upside down. You should try it, and you can. You just flip yourself upside down. You need to be a little more careful. You don't want to do that on day 1. You know, you don't want to hot dog it too much, but...
is this seat. And the solid waste container is connected via this hose to the same fan, so that, again, the same suction effects allows you to do your number 2
in weightlessness. I want to show you how it looks, but since we don't want any bad smells to come out, we're going to actually turn on the fan. It's going to be a little bit loud. There we go. Now you can lift the lid. There is this seat that sort of looks comfortable, but you don't really sit in weightlessness. So most of us actually prefer to lift this one as well and use directly the opening that goes into the bag. And in fact, there is a bag in there. It looks like this. And when we are done with our business, we close the bag and we push it down into the solid waste container. And then, of course, as a courtesy to the next person, we put a new fresh bag inside. The solid waste container gets changed when it's full, which is roughly every 10 days for a crew of 3 people using it. This one, for example, was installed on the 61st day of this year.
Okay, so where does the pee go if you do it in the spacecraft?
In the spacecraft, it's collected and then dumped, as he described. And you would want to see the urine dump was cool, because you would dump it and it would crystallize and the sun would shine on it, and it was really fun. It was something.
I can't believe I'm having a conversation.
Yeah.
A beautiful frozen pee in space.
A urine dump.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's a urine dump. Hey, it's a urine dump, and we, before you hit the switch, everyone go to the window and watch. That's it.
So you're telling me your pee was orbiting the Earth?
Apparently, yes. I never thought of it that way, but yes, for a little bit until it crystallized. It kind of disappears.
No, then it would re-enter the atmosphere.
Yes. Well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
I peed on everybody.
You peed on Earth.
Yes, I guess
oh
so.
my gosh.
Now the secret's out. That's it. It is possible to pee upside down, which is kind of cool, and it is treated and it is reused. So as my friend Don Pettit says, today's coffee is tomorrow's coffee. As you're sitting on this thing, but your butt could still come off the back of it, and that's not good. So in order to keep your butt on the toilet seat, we had these 2 little arms that would press you into the seat. Actually, to help myself get the right position, as I put my arms up like this, like I was riding a chopper. I thought of Peter Fonda in a movie called Easy Rider. That was a good alignment for me. The poop remained in the toilet. The more experienced recovery technicians would know that ahead of time and be prepared for it.
Probably roughly around day 71, we will have to change it again. But urine
gets recycled.
So from the pretty complicated hydraulic equipment that is behind here and makes the use of the toilet in space possible, the urine actually gets directly transferred to another piece of equipment which is here in the floor, which is called UPA, Urine Processing Assembly, which is the first step
into turning urine into potable water.
What does the ISS smell like There's one smell up here that's really unique, though, and that is the smell. We just call it the smell of space, but we experience it when I haven't had a chance to do a spacewalk yet. I'm still waiting and hoping for that. But when other guys did and they came back in, after we repressurized and opened up the volume for them to come back into the station, there's this really, really strong metallic smell. And I don't know exactly what it is. Something to do with maybe atomic oxygen interacting with the suit materials, or we're not exactly sure what it is. It's a very distinct smell, and it's the smell of space. It's really cool.
And it's just something that it's a continual occurrence. It's like a very small rain, a drizzle, and it's just something that you have to engineer around when you make a spacecraft.
So we swallow our toothpaste.
Swallow it.
Yes, that's right. You just swallow the toothpaste.
What are some of the easiest ways that you can prove that the Earth is flat? There are so many proofs that the Earth is flat. It's difficult to know where to start. And it's not okay to think that the Earth is a sphere. This is not a viable argument. There are proofs all around you. It is not difficult to know that the Earth is flat. In fact, people have known this for way more than 2,000 years. Go out to a lake, flat. And you could make all kinds of measurements. Then there are some other proofs that are a little more obscure, but they're actually really lovely. So people have known that the Earth is flat for thousands of years. It's not okay to say that the Earth curved. And it's something where I keep getting this question. We really need to put this question to bed because we've known the Earth is flat. Flat.
The entire experience is actually very surreal. First, you're launched on a rocket. You're pulling G's as you're going out of the atmosphere. You're looking at the Earth for the first time. You're floating. Everything is different, and it just is all just such a different experience that
everything just floats. And sometimes that is really difficult to believe that it could actually be true.
It almost doesn't seem real.
It's so amazing and such an incredible feeling that it's difficult to believe sometimes that it's actually happening.
It almost doesn't seem real. In fact, when I did my space shuttle flight for 2 weeks in 2008, when I got back, you could have convinced me I never went.
Difficult to believe that it could actually be true.
You could have convinced me I never went. This experience is so unusual and so different than anything you've ever done in your life.
You know, it was a movie.
I didn't think that it would actually come true.
That it's hard to grasp at all.
They over-dramatize things.
I'll tell you, it is still difficult to believe that this is happening.
I came back and my memories were there, but it almost didn't seem real.
In the large swimming pool.
And believing that it could happen.
That it's hard to grasp at all.
How insignificant really we are as humans.
It almost didn't seem real. I think we tend to...
The actors overreact to situations.
It just keeps getting better and better.
Live in our bubble of our world that's here.
It's difficult to describe exactly how it just feels different.
Obviously not very realistic.
There are proofs all around you.
We've known for thousands of years.
Way more than 2,000 years.
To recognize.
For thousands of years.
How we doing? We knew more about the outer solar system in 2001 than the film did.
This is all wrong.
The world is flat.
How we doing?
How dare you?
The Earth is flat.
Oh, yeah, that would be disastrous.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond.
I'd like to go to Mars very quickly.
But we destroyed that technology.
How we do it. It would kill everyone on Earth.
How dare you?
The Earth is flat.
We just discussed that.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood.
But we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. And the light is shining through.
And then SpaceX is about helping make life multiplanetary.
The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit, bottomless pit, bottomless pit.
To continue the dream of Apollo.
What does the ISS smell like?
Oh, you can smell a little roast beef.
How we do it.
The poop remained in the toilet. We landed with all of our poop.
There's no place like space. There's no place like space. There's no place like... Station, this is your president. Do you hear me?
Everything just floats. And sometimes that is really difficult to believe that it could actually be true.
In this abyss of darkness.
Blackness of darkness forever.
You know, it was a movie.
I didn't think that it would actually come true. I'll tell you, it is still difficult to believe that this is happening.
I would go back to space in a nanosecond, load my family up on the next rocket, and we'd immigrate into space.
So we swallow our toothpaste.
In space.
I was very sad to see that.
Wow. Amazing, amazing.
It's called real good engineering. Okay,
for satellite.
There are no flat surfaces on a football. That's what I mean by right.
But we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. And the light is shining through.
Right here on Earth.
I'm Matt.
It's magic, you know.
Then you have a leak.
Gee, why would I care?
How can anyone?
In space. In space.
What it does is it takes your physical abilities to places they have never gone before.
Gee, why would I care?
In space.
Well, wherever it is, I don't like it, and I'm getting out of here.
In space.
To life becoming multiplanetary.
Gee, why would I care?
Helping make life multiplanetary.
So we swallow our toothpaste.